So I just saw Unfriended 2, Dark Web, and it was abysmal. This movie was so stupid. I am kind of at a loss for words. I don't really know where to start. So let's start at the end.
Yo, hey buddy, how you doing?
Yes. It is game night.
Ow! Hey, you ready for this?
I got a new laptop.
Actually new.
I think if you know the twist to this movie, then everything is more stupid and easier to explain. So let's just get that out of the way right out of the bat. So before I spoil the ending, let me run down the premise so I can make this a little bit more cohesive. Basically, the premise of Unfriended 2 is that a guy, our main character, Guy McMahon, finds a laptop at an internet cafe. He discovers that it was used by people on the dark web, and then things start happening on game night over Skype with his friends. So basically the twist is that the dark web hacker, or hackers, who had the laptop before him, set him and his friends up, and were having their own game night. And were having over-unders on who would be the first kill, or how long it would take to get to the first kill, or what decisions the main character would make. So basically, from the start, the hackers were banking on our main character to be a complete moron for their own game night. And I'll explain in great detail why both this twist is completely ridiculous and why our main character is the most retarded person to ever walk the earth. So literally the first thing we see, the first thing that appears on screen is a MacBook login. You see somebody's account with a question mark under it, and then it says password. And he tries a whole bunch of different passwords, like password and capital password, and then he gets really hilarious and starts doing memes like Han shot first or Kofefe, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen on screen, I think. But then he sees that the account's name is a question mark, and so he starts circling it with his mouse to show the audience that he's connecting 1 and 1 together, and then he types a question mark in the password box, and he gets in. So immediately, this character does something that I don't think anyone with common sense would ever do, and that's use somebody else's old account that was left on a laptop. I mean, he says that he bought it off Craigslist to his friends, but it's revealed about 30 minutes later that he actually just took it from an internet cafe because it was in the Lost and Found for 4 weeks. So if it was in the Lost and Found for 4 weeks, why would you use that person's account? Do you want them to trace back to you? Immediately factory reset that. Everyone with any common sense would immediately factory reset the laptop and then just use it as if it was theirs. No problem. You would have no issues. Just factory reset it. Anyone with a mind would factory reset it. But okay, our main character just logs into somebody's account and just starts using it as if it were their own. He even starts like signing into Facebook and trying to call his girlfriend from it immediately. It's so stupid.
Hang on, you stole someone's computer?
I didn't steal it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's messed up.
And I found this folder, it was hidden. And it automatically connects you to this thing.
Dude, this is dark web.
And so he signs into this guy's Facebook, and people start just messaging him. And he decides, in his brilliance, to message them back from this random guy's website. Like, are you serious? Who would ever make these decisions? There's like random like hot chicks that are sending the guy videos and random people saying that like, the transfer's complete, I sent you the money. And he's just replying to these people. And I was like, how am I supposed to relate to this guy? Who would do this? Anyway, after our main character decides to sign into a random person's Facebook and message people on his Facebook, he starts up his Skype call with his friends. And they're playing game night. They're playing Cards Against Humanity over Skype. They have a game night. And all the while, our main character is talking to not only his friends, but his girlfriend, who hates him for some reason. I don't understand why. Like, they have a little Skype call, and he's building this program to where he can like sign to her through the program because she's deaf, and she doesn't like that, but she doesn't explain why, so she disappears for half the movie, and he keeps trying to message her, and she doesn't come back. All the while, we're watching our main character interact with the Skype call, interact with random guy's Facebook, and his girlfriend on his own Facebook. So there's a bunch of different things happening all at once, and it's cut together so poorly. The editing in this movie is absolutely abysmal.
No, you guys. No. Is that Lex?
He killed Lex!
Who?
The ones who buy the videos, the ones who pick the girls.
There are some scenes just early on where the editing between just small things was so obvious that it actually was like hurting me physically. Every time that it would make a cut, I was like, oh, what? Like, for example, the Skype call. You know, on Skype, when someone's talking, it kind of projects them onto the screen so that you can see who's talking. Well, not in this movie. Inexplicably, sometimes people will be talking on the small bars below, and then it will cut to them on the big frame so that you can see them talking. But when it cuts to them in like almost a different location. You can tell it's the same place, but the lighting's different, their position is changed, their laptop has moved slightly, and it's so clear that they made these cuts so that they could have one take that they liked of how someone delivered their line. And then as soon as that take ended, they just projected it somewhere else so that you wouldn't tell that they edited two clips together. But it's so obvious that they did this because they didn't even try to match up the takes correctly. There's so many instances where every single character will change positions, not only just from the small little frames to the big one, but just in the small bar. They'll switch positions, and the take will be different. There's even a time when one of the characters, the English guy, don't remember his name because no one has a character, is sitting like this after he sees something shocking, and I just watched him because he was in the small part of the frame in the very bottom of the image, and I just watched that little thing. I didn't pay attention to what was happening. I don't remember what was happening. I just remember him because he was sitting like this for like a minute straight. It was just literally a screenshot of him doing this. And then our main character, who was like on Safari or something, he switches back to the Skype call, and it cuts from that guy from the bottom left of the Skype to like the big frame, and he's not doing this anymore. It just cuts immediately to him on the big frame, and he's like this, and the lighting's different, the angle's different, and he's in a completely different position. And they didn't even try to hide it. It was insane.
Girls.
What the hell? They've all been watching.
Oh my god.
Our hacker man that had the laptop before our main character uses somebody else's Facebook to start talking to him and says, "You have my laptop, bring it back." And so right as our main character is like, "Okay, I'll bring it back. I'm sorry, I didn't know that it was yours, blah, blah, blah. It was at an internet cafe for 4 weeks. I thought it would be okay." He goes to, he clears all his history and then goes to shut it down and take it with him back to the internet cafe to leave it for the guy. He sees that it has some information on it. Like it has all these cryptic things on it. Like there's the river, and there's like a big folder for all these videos that are on it of like people in their houses doing menial tasks, or then there's another folder in it that's like people chained up in a warehouse that are trying to reach for a drink or something. And so he decides to not take it back, even though if I had seen that, I would immediately take it back because I'd be terrified of the guy. But he says, "No, these are interesting. I'm gonna watch more of these videos because they're fascinating. I'm gonna screen share my screen with all my friends so they can see how truly fascinating these videos are. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Yes." And so he screen shares as he's watching all these videos with his friends. And the hacker guy is like, "The laptop's not here. I'm gonna get you now." And then the hacker guy shows up at his girlfriend's house, and the girlfriend starts like video calling him before you know that the hacker's there. And he's like, "Not now, I'm watching these creepy videos." And she keeps trying to call him. He's like, "Not now, I don't want to talk now." And she calls like 3 times, and I went, "It's the hacker, obviously." And then he decides to answer it, and nobody's in the frame. And I was like, "Oh, it's the hacker, I knew it." And then a girl walks in, and it's like supposed to be like this false scare, like release from the tension that was supposed to be there, but it wasn't. And she's like, oh, hey, boyfriend of my sister, how are you today? And then the hacker puts a bag around her head and then carries her out.
Yeah, is that on your end or?
No, I think it's my end. Yeah, sorry, hold on.
Quiero respirar tu cuello despacito. Deja que te diga cosas al oído. Para que te acuerdes si no estás conmigo. Despacito.
And then his girlfriend, who was in the shower, comes out and is like, oh, hey, I was in the shower. Crazy, right? I'm going to go back in the shower and change. Even though I could just do that in my room. I don't know why she would go into the shower to change. But anyway, the hacker comes back in and sits down and he's like, I want my laptop back. Bring it. I'm going to take your girlfriend. I'm going to follow her and she's going to come over to your place. Get her to come over. And then we'll trade girlfriend for laptop. And if you tell any of your friends or call the police, I'll kill all of you. And so he's like, okay, friends, turns out that the videos that I just showed you that were horrifying and disgusting, apparently, they're all fake. It was a game. It was a ruse that I set up. And their friends were like, oh, you better not do that again, you dumb guy. And he convinces his girlfriend to come to his house. And so she gets on the subway. And this is when our main character comes up with a master plan, just a brilliant plan. So the master plan set up by our main character is that when his girlfriend goes on the subway, which is underground, she'll lose Wi-Fi connection, even though there's data exists. She'll go onto the underground and lose Wi-Fi connection, which means that the hacker guy, who is supposed to be this amazing, incredible hacker, will also lose Wi-Fi connection. And then the green dot that says active on Facebook will go away, which means that she lost her connection, and then he can tell his friends what's really happening. And that's his master plan. And right before he puts this plan into effect, he decides to transfer the hacker guy's 15,000 bitcoins into his own account. And the guy phones him and is like, you're an idiot. Everyone's gonna know that I lost the laptop and then we're all dead. He does this Bitcoin transfer. The hacker gets mad at him, but he's like, okay, I'm gonna bring your girlfriend. Nothing better happen in between now and then, and she'll be fine. And so he goes underground with the girlfriend. And the little light on the Facebook chat goes away, and the main character just freaks out and tells his friends everything. Like, this has been real, this isn't a game that I was making up, it's real, the guy's gonna kill my girlfriend, and he's spewing this plan, and I'm like, if this truly is a hacker that can hack into people's cameras and see what they're doing at any time of the night, can find people, can find anyone, anywhere where they lived, how could he just not be able to connect to your computer? Why would he need Wi-Fi? There's hotspots. There's things as hotspots. There's data. He could still be connected. But anyway, okay, let's go along with the movie's logic and how retarded it is. The hacker doesn't have Wi-Fi. Okay, it's stupid, but let's just go along with it. So he's spewing this plan, and then the little green icon flashes on the screen, and everyone knows. I don't know how, because the screen sharing is clearly not happening, but everyone just knows when the little light comes back on and his girlfriend is active on Facebook again, which means she has Wi-Fi. So everyone pretends like they're doing something else, like they didn't just find out that all their lives are at risk and they're just playing this game to try and pretend like they don't know what's going on. And the light will go off again and they'll freak out. We gotta call 911. My deputy that I know is coming to my house. We're gonna be safe. And then the light will come back on and they'll be like, go fish. It's so stupid. For one, obviously, how did everyone know this? That's stupid. But then there are times when a character is saying, I'm gonna call 911, and then you see the Facebook thing pop up, and then it like immediately cuts to that person who is just freaking out with cards in their hands. And you're not supposed to notice the obvious cut? It's so bad. But just to make the scene worse, this girlfriend is on like the bottom of the frame, and she's Facebook video calling her boyfriend, and it's like a vertical video of her going, ooh, and they're like moving the phone around, and she's like hitting it with her face and dancing on it and like partying and throwing the phone on the ground and stuff. And I'm watching it on the corner of the frame because I'm more interested in that than the movie. And it's like looping footage, I swear. They just looped the same like minute and a half of footage. But then, not only is that incredibly stupid, but when the boyfriend decides to get back on the call with her, it changes from vertical footage to horizontal, and it's on a tripod. She's not holding it anymore. It's just on a tripod. The lighting changes. Her position changes. She was by a window, and then she's just not. And her clothes change. She's like wearing a headband in the vertical footage, and then she's just not. And then she has like a jean jacket on, and then she's just not. So like everything changes when he gets back on the call with her, and you're just expected to not notice. It's like the most obvious thing because it's constantly at the bottom of the frame. Like, come on, guys.
That's my mom. No!
Yes! Yes!
If they found Lex, can't they find the rest of us too?
The main characters decide that now that they know what's happening, the programmer of the group, this English guy, decides that he's going to copy all of the files and videos from the hacker man's laptop onto his desktop and then send them to the authorities with all the coordinates that the laptop's been so that they can go help the girls that have been taken by the hacker guys. And then, of course, people start getting picked off here and there. Like, the Asian girl gets killed first. You see her walk out of frame on a phone call, and then the next thing you see of her is her on a roof and then getting pushed off the roof, which is stupid. And then you see there's a black girl and a white girl who are dating, and one goes off to try and meet the girlfriend of our main character at the bus station before the hacker guy can get there. And you see... You see the white chick on the Skype call, and then somehow the hacker guys get into the Skype call, and they try to make her choose between her dying mother in a hospital and her black girlfriend, who is now her fiance, and they're like, choose. And they give her 30 seconds to choose, and for 30 seconds straight, she literally just says, no, I'm not gonna, no, I'm not gonna, I won't, I don't wanna, And I was like, just choose one. They're gonna kill both if you don't. It's obvious. You just gotta choose one. Just choose your mom. She's already in the freaking ER. She's gonna die anyway. Choose her. And she doesn't. And of course, it cuts to the mom in her deathbed, literally. And she's got like the heart monitor right next to her bed, and it shows the hackers hacking into it. And it shows them like doing commands on that screen. And then it goes away, and then she just flatlines immediately. And it was hilarious. And then it cuts to the black fiance at the train station, and a guy just starts fighting with her, and he pushes her in front of the train and kills her. So both of them die. And then someone barges into the white girl's house and then just kills her too. So she's dead. And then the other character who's really annoying, I can't remember his name because he doesn't have a character either, much like everyone. Everyone's character is just flat and stupid, so no one matters. I don't care. But one of the characters, who is like a big conspiracy guy. He has a podcast on YouTube where he's like, everyone wake up! And he's pounding his fist, and they start getting clips from his YouTube video. They hack into the Skype again, and they show them snipping parts of his YouTube video, like him saying, my name is a family name, Jabowski is a family name, and I have guns in my shed, and I'm going downtown to a mall, and they show them getting these clips and then dialing 911, and then using these clips like a soundboard to dial 911. They dial 911, and they're like, what's your emergency? And he's like, my name is Jabowski, it's a family name. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going downtown with some guns. And it's like, obviously they didn't even try to pitch things the same. So it's like, my name's Jabowski, it's a family name. I'm going downtown with some guns, and I'm going to kill everyone. And the police officers take it as a valid threat, which, I mean, anyone probably would, but...
Right now!
AJ, get out!
AJ!
They take it as a valid threat, and they just show up at his house? They show up at the character's house instead of the mall, which he said he was gonna go shoot up. So they show up at his house, and you hear him banging on the door less than 10 seconds from when he is seeing the footage of him calling 911 through soundboard. And you hear them banging on the door, the police, and they're like, there's a warrant for your arrest, we're gonna come in. And everyone's yelling at him on the Skype call to just get on the floor and put your hands around your head and wait for them to come down. Everyone's yelling at him. And so he kind of does that. But then he starts walking up the stairs. And the stairs are kind of like at an angle, like a 90-degree angle. And he gets up onto the landing to go up. And there's a little speaker like right here. And he's standing here. And you see the door at the top of the stairs kind of open. And you hear the cops saying, put your hands up. And then it shows on the Skype call that the hackers have a clip, a stock sound effect of a shotgun pumping. And they're like, the mouse is like dancing around the play button as if it's like suspenseful. And they click the button and it just does this like comically bad sound effect. And the guy is on the stairs doing this with his hands in the air. And the police say, he's got a gun. And they just start unloading on him at the bottom of the stairs. Like, he clearly doesn't have a gun. His hands are up. This movie is so stupid.
They've had control this whole time.
Please, leave us alone!
Near the very end, the main character and the English guy, who's like a programmer, are the only two left. And the main character signs to his girlfriend on that footage when he gets back and it's horizontal. He signs to her, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave. And the programmer guy's like, okay, leave your laptop open. I'm gonna remain here to copy all the horrible video files onto my desktop to send to the police. And so the guy goes out and starts biking away. And then the hackers show up at the guy's apartment with a body bag, and they put it in his closet. And the programmer guy is like, oh, they're setting us up. They're setting us up. I can't believe this. And it's the girl that they put in the closet is like a girl from earlier that the main character was trying to save. And she's in his house now. So it's like, oh, she was there. It's going to look like he did it. And he's like, oh no, I can't believe this, the English guy. And then the hackers get on the Skype call again, and then they replay the footage of the main character signing to his girlfriend with subtitles over his sign language, where it's like, you're in danger, run away to the spot where we first kissed. And somehow they know where that is. And the guy, it cuts to like a surveillance camera of the area. The guy bikes up, the main character, and there's like a coffin dug there, and he goes to look in it, and no one's in it, and then someone runs behind him and hits him with a shovel, and it cuts. And then it shows the programmer guy realizing that, oh no, the hackers are setting us up. They knew that I would copy the files onto my computer, even though anyone would be able to tell that it's a copy, like, it's obviously not the original file. And then he's like, I will get you, I'll call the police, you don't have enough evidence. And then it shows like this clip from earlier where a guy lifted up his hood to the camera, like, I'm gonna steal this girl. And then the hackers take a screenshot of the main character from earlier and then composite his face on top of the other guy's face to make it look like the main character is kidnapping this girl. And again, I was like, there are literally people that can tell when an image has been manipulated. So let's just imagine that no one would be able to figure that out. So then the hackers burst into the England guy's house, and they go inside and they hang him in his room on a door, and they write a suicide note on his computer. And then you see the girlfriend going to the place where the main character just got buried alive, and she's standing on this freshly shoveled ground, and the shovel is literally on top of the ground. And she's standing there like, where is he? I don't know. You know, this ground, it's been freshly dug up, and there's a shovel there. I just don't know where my boyfriend is. And so it shows that the main character waking up in the coffin underneath the girlfriend's feet, and she's calling him on Facebook video message, and he answers, and he's like, I'm right below you. Literally just start digging. But the hackers managed to blur his mouth while he's live, like, streaming to his girlfriend on Facebook video message. And they blur his mouth, and then he's like, I'll just text you. And so he starts texting me, help, I'm below you, but it keeps changing to, I wish I could sign better, I wish I could sign better. And so I guess he couldn't sign just... So that's pretty much the end of the movie, where apparently the girlfriend is too stupid to realize that something's beneath her feet, and the boyfriend is too stupid to make her, like, start digging. And then it dollies out from the screen where you're watching this happen, and it's the plot twist where somebody's watching it on a monitor like, and it's the dark web's game night, and people are taking over-under bets on what's going to happen, on how long it's going to take for things to happen. And I just burst out laughing because that's the dumbest plot twist of all time. The movie's absolutely dreadful, man. Oh.
Get out of there right now!
I can hear you. Are you still
Kelly,
there?
I can't
just
see you.
Everything is just broken. This movie is so stupid. It tries so little and yet doesn't get anything right. Like, all the performances are embarrassing. Everyone does an awful job. All of the Skype calls are cringeworthy and terrible. There are no characters. No one has a character, and I can't remember any of their names. Even the main characters whose name is on screen like 100 times. I don't remember it because he doesn't have a character, and it's stupid. And then the filmmaking is so basic, and they couldn't even get that right. The filmmaking is just a screen of a laptop, and you can't get that right. The way that they do fear in the movie, the way that they try to make the audience tense, is with like room noise. So they'll be on the Skype call, and people will just be talking, have a good time, and then the main character will move Safari in front of Skype, and then everyone's voices will just kind of get drowned out, and you can kind of hear them vaguely, like they're underwater or something, and then it'll just cut to like room noise, like oh, like an AC unit's going on in the background. And that's the way that they kind of build tension. And then the jump scares in the movie are like just people banging on things. Like someone just bangs on a desk and goes, ah, and that's the jump scare. It's so stupid. They can't even make fear palpable in this movie because everything is just edited so poorly. There's so many opportunities for the movie to be at least kind of intelligent where, you know, if you want to have complete silence to lead up to some scare, just have the character mute everything. Just have them mute Skype, have them mute their computer audio. He does it a couple of times, but not when they're doing a scare. There are times when he'll just mute Skype and then mute his like video call to get on a call with his girlfriend so that nothing's happening in the background, but then he won't do it for a scare. Why? Why have a scare in the movie that's disingenuous? It just isn't scary because it doesn't feel real. The first Unfriended is about a ghost that infects a computer. Stupid, but simple. You don't have to really explain that. But here, it's like a bunch of hackers doing a bunch of stupid stuff, and then the movie tries to explain it in the end, and it just makes everything worse. So the characters are bad, the performances are bad, the filmmaking is bad, and the editing is atrocious, which I've talked about before, and you just get horribly edited stuff where it's like, oh, I can see a character screenshotted, and then they completely move. It's just bad. The whole movie is completely stupid. It's so boring for most of it. There's a couple times when I laughed out loud, like I said, but most of it is just so boring and so poorly paced. The first half of this movie goes by at a snail's pace. It's so boring. Nothing of any significance happens. So I can't really recommend this one as a so bad it's good movie. It's just abysmal. It's one of the worst movies I've seen this year, and honestly, it may be the worst movie I've seen this year. As I sit and think about it more and more, I initially, right after screening of this movie, I gave it a 2. But as this movie sits with me, it's a 1. This movie is so bad. I can't even believe it. So yeah, that's my review. This movie sucks, don't see it. But, on the other hand, if they made a Unfriended 3 right now, I'd be there for it. I'd see it.